Dear students, let us start the discussion on 12th November 2016. Now, the recent presidential elections in the US, and there are a series of articles on the same. Why did the Donald Trump win these elections? Now, the present article also debates into the same, the short arc that led to Donald Trump. We have seen multiple explanations explaining the reasons for his elections or for his win in these elections. The first one is the globalization raised the inequalities, and there is a perceived sense of loss among the people. And added to that, the globalization has united the economies but failed to unite the politics. And on the other hand, the right wing politics have grown all over the world because of this particular globalization as a phenomenon. It means that we have seen more and more explanations that are centered on political economy, but we fail to see the arguments beyond that. Now, we generally pursue that the Western societies are rational, argumentative, based on reason, and they are objective. But how far is it true? The voting behavior, if you take in India, it is guided by the caste prejudices. Our voting behavior is aligned at the caste and community lines. Is that not the true in the Western societies? Do Western societies and the voters in these countries make the decisions purely on rational criteria such as economic criteria? Now, if you analyze this particular article, it goes it this way. American society is also highly polarized. So the voting behavior of most of the states is decided on many prejudices or many other identities such as race, ethnicity, color, nationality, or nation of origin, etc. So in this scenario, if you take most of the states, they have a fixed voter behavior in the United States. If you see California and New York, they are essentially the Democrat states. So the voters also fixed themselves across the party lines. There are few states such as Michigan, Pennsylvania, etc. These are called swing states. Among these swing states, certain undecided voters, they try to decide the final outcome. They will decide the final outcome of the elections. Now, if we observe the George Bush elections, Mr. Al Gore has got the more popular vote, but electoral votes has went in favor of the George Bush. Now the same thing has been repeated. Miss Hillary Clinton got more the popular vote, but Mr. Trump has won the election because more the electoral votes are in favor of Mr. Trump. So in this scenario, the American elections, they cannot be called as foolproof, and American people voting behavior, it is also being influenced by many of the criteria which is centered around the identity of the people. And the second thing is, American society was built in the principles of inclusion, participation, and then pluralism. So these are the ideas. So the diversity of the American society, acceptance of talent, and providing for a land for opportunities or demarcating itself as a land of opportunities, all was made through the vision of its great leaders. During Lyndon B. Johnson's era, so the Great Society was made through open immigration policy, and much of the talent pool has got shifted from India and other developing countries towards the US. And US has developed into a nation because of these fine human resources. But after some 50 to 60 years, we see the divides growing in this society. Now, in this scenario, the African American president taking the office is one of this particular point which made the most of the white Americans insecure, according to this article. Now, it means the sense of nativism is growing, which is growing against the anti-immigration or growing against the immigration policies of the country. And the second thing is, most of the institutions after the civil rights movement, they made accessible to the African Americans. And the pinnacle of this is election of African American to the presidential office. Now, there is a perceived sense of loss of control by the white Americans on the American institutions. So, recapturing of these American institutions back into the fold of the whites is one thing that has dominated in these elections. If we see the electoral statistics, it is not just the workers which has influenced the election of Donald Trump. It is the consolidation of the votes of the whites that have influenced his election. If you take the Pennsylvania, where 80% of the voters are whites, most of these votes have gone to the Donald Trump. So, most of the swing states, though they consist of greater workforce, and as Trump's declared economic policy is not support of the workers, still they voted for him. It is majorly can be explained through the sense of nativism, sense of loss of control over the American institutions. Now, bringing parallel with India, yes, the reservation movements in India, and then increasing voting percentage which is being reported across the upper caste. This is also to give a sense of loss, to bring in this perceived sense of loss in upper caste. So I'm trying to bring in the parallels between the American democracy and Indian democracy. So finally, what we can say is that sometimes democracy works in strange ways. The election of the Donald Trump is a representation of this democracy working in strange way. And the second is Punjab's legislative adventurism. Now understand, judiciary, legislature, and executive shall work within cooperation. They shall not contradict each other's actions. Now, the Supreme Court judgment as a binding all over the country, then through legislative means, how come the states can contradict that Supreme Court judgment? It is not the clash of institutions. So, at this principal level question, let's go further into the Punjab crisis. In 2004, the Supreme Court has ordered the Punjab government to complete Sutlej Yamuna link canal on its side. But the Punjab legislature has reacted by passing a law annulling all the river agreements. Then the matter was sent for the advice of the Supreme Court by the President of India, and the Supreme Court said that the state legislatures cannot make the laws that contradict or come in conflict with the judgments of the Supreme Court which have reached their finality. That's what the Supreme Court said in the Kaveri dispute and also in the case of Mulla Periyar Dam. So, if federalism has to work, the consensus orientation, the principle of accommodation across the states, respect for agreements among the governments is necessary, or else it is crucial. So, in this context, the action of the government of Punjab is not in the federal spirit. So, playing to the populism and playing to the mood of the people, it is the nurture or the feeder or fodder for the politics of the day. So, whenever the election season comes up, raising up these issues to gain the vote banks, to get the voter support, it will ultimately ruin the institutions and their functioning in the country. So, the greater long term vision and nationalistic perspective shall dominate over the regional politics and small political gains. Now, let's get into the next article. In Telangana, farewell to arms. This is a good case for Naxalites and mainstreaming of the Naxalites. Especially with regard to the security issues, we can quote Telangana and Andhra Pradesh as examples for better management of the Naxal menace. Now, why the Naxalism has come into existence? There is a sense of oppression among the sections of the people, especially the feudal lords in Telangana region, has pulled many people towards this Naxalism. And the second thing is, there is an ideological base and support that the Maoism can bring in better development and prospect to the poor. And the third thing is, the governance, failure of the governance, and huge levels of the corruption, it has distanced the common people from the establishment, and resentment against the establishment is growing. So these are the reasons that can be attributed for the growth of the Naxalism. The sense of injustice is the root cause of Naxalism. So what the Telangana government, it means the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana governments did. So they have nurtured an allied professional force called as greyhounds. These greyhounds, it has remarkable with regard to fight in Naxal menace. And the second thing is, Previously, police have resorted to high-handedness to fight the Naxalism. Slowly, they started shifting towards the people-friendly policing. And along with the people-friendly policing, they also started providing incentives and alternative life support systems for the Naxals who have surrendered. So this have paid the dividends and most of the Naxals have entered into the mainstream life. Here a remarkable statement is like this. So a development can be just and reasonable only when the peace prevails. A development cannot be just and reasonable in an environment of violence. So, if you understand clearly this statement, so the development occurs through the constructive engagement, not through the destructive violence. That's what is the essence which we can drive from this particular essay. And the second thing is the administrative systems and then the development and democracy getting penetrating into the hinterlands is also the second reason for the downward spiral of the Naxal movement in these states. So these we can quote as examples. Now let's come into the news of today. The first one is India and Japan have concluded the civil nuclear agreement. So now understand the civil nuclear cooperation agreement. According to this, if we have to realize our nuclear energy potential, we need the nuclear reactors. Other than the Russian nuclear reactors, either it is American or French, we need the spare parts from the Japan. And most of the companies, Areva, and then Westinghouse, General Electric Company. These are today owned by Hitachi, Mitsubishi, Toshiba, which are the majors of Japanese. And the next is Japan also need this nuclear agreement for the reason that the nuclear industry was in shambles or else almost died in Japan after the Fukushima nuclear disaster. So in this, it's a win-win situation for both India and Japan. But however, Japan is very much sensitive for the nuclear bomb. Especially India is not a signatory of NPT. Japan is very much wary and it was unable to explain to its public about going forward with India. In this context, a clause proposed that is called as nullification clause. It means if India resorts to testing tomorrow with a notice of 1 year, Japan can come out of this civil nuclear agreement. Now, India as initially did not is not willing to sign for this, but finally India has given its stand and it has signed this agreement. So this is the hallmark of the President Modi's visit to Shinzo Abe, that is visit to Japan, that made this thing. Now coming to India-Pakistan, Indus Water Treaty and the problems with it. India is building the Kishan Ganga project. Pakistan has objections to the same. Then what is the dispute resolution mechanism? There is a permanent Indus Water Commission with the commissioners from both the sides. Then the matter will be escalated to the World Bank if it is not resolved at that level. At the World Bank level, if the issue is technical, a neutral expert will be appointed. If the issue is beyond the technical and the neutral expert certifies so, then an arbitration process has to be initiated by the World Bank. Now, India recommended for a neutral expert and Pakistan recommended for an arbitration council. Finally, World Bank has decided that a neutral expert will be appointed and also arbitration mechanism according to the demand of the Pakistan will be initiated. So how these two dispute resolution mechanisms can run simultaneously is a major question over here. So Indus Water Treaty, which is mediated by the World Bank, is said to be the most successful water treaty in the world. It has survived the 3 wars and it has said to be the model water treaty which other countries can emulate. So these are the discussions for today. And coming to the other issues, the black money drama is going on, and then we have this demonetization could cut inflation. That's what is the Arvind Pangaria has talking about. So the demonetization is obviously is going to decrease the supply of the money, and it is expected that some 20 to 30% money may not reach back to the banks, and it also increase the money availability with the government. And the decrease in the total money in circulation will ultimately lead to the cut down of inflation, according to our Mr. Arvind Pangaria. So these are the articles for discussion today. The world today. The first thing is the growth of right wing politics across the world. And the Brexit is a symbol of the growth of right wing in UK. And winning of the Mary Le Pen in local elections in France, it reflects the same. The same is going on in Hungary, Netherlands, everywhere. So what it reflects today? Because whenever the right wing grew in Europe, it has led to led to world war in one or the other way. So it means this growth of right wing is, it suggests certain in a kind of a world which is going to come in the future. So let us wait and see. Now these are the articles for discussion. And then fisheries conflict. The India and Sri Lanka has this fisheries conflict, especially related to something called as bottom trawling. And Indian fishermen are entering into the Sri Lankan waters, and the fish population is decreasing in their waters, which is causing hardships to the northern Sri Lankans. So, a joint working group is constituted which will resolve this particular issue. So, it's a step forward. These are the issues for discussion today, and thank you very much and all the best. Added to this, there is a small announcement for you. On Civils Prep, I will be posting the newspapers related to Indian Express and also the Live Mint. Because the business news and economy is not being covered in India in Hindu, so I will be making a separate video on Indian Express and Live Mint since yesterday I started the same. So you can go to the Civils Prep channel, the YouTube channel, and you can look for the videos over there on Indian Express and Live Mint. So these are the articles for discussion today. Thank you very much and all the best.